are not necessarily the opinions of the radio station or anybody associated with the radio station or ownership. These are strictly his own opinions, and sometimes they're not even his opinions.
Can you get me a little typeset?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
You're tired.
Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Throwback Thursday in the Doghouse. I am your host, Thom Abraham. So glad that you have joined us for this exercise in radio excellence. I am looking forward to where DJ Grizzy Grizz is going to take us with the throwback music today. I got to be totally honest with you. It's a surprise to me. So we're going to see where he's going with the throwback music. He is totally responsible for it, so we'll see how that all shakes out. Now, we do have a number of things to get into today, and what is certainly a busy schedule on the show today. All right. Alabama was on the field this morning, and defensive coordinator Kane Womack spoke with the media afterwards, which was odd enough as it is. I mean, just when you're talking to a coordinator during spring ball. I mean, that makes no sense. But he had some interesting things. I'm being facetious when I say that. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. He had some interesting things to say regarding Nick Saban's input on what he is doing with the Tide's defense.
There has been a standard of defensive play, and it's been led, by one man in the last 17 years. And for Coach Saban has been incredibly supportive so far. I've met with him a number of times, both on the phone and multiple in-person meetings. He's done what I've asked is that, he helps me kind of the learning curve, right, adjust to what we're doing. As we talk ball, those are fun things for both of us to be able to talk through what they've done defensively over the years, how our defense has adjusted. This defense has been around for a long time under my dad. We've adjusted and kind of evolved with college football. I would say once he got to Miami, was a little bit more of a 3-4 structure, and then carried that over the last 17 years here, but kind of evolved to a little bit more of a 3-4 with a nickel, so we say 3-4, but we're really mean it's a nickel to the field, or traveling to the boundary, whatever. That's really how we've evolved. My dad was one of the originators of the 4-2-5 defense. We do those things. We still get 4-down looks, but we move in and out with that outside wolf backer into the boundary. And so really we've kind of evolved more towards coach, and he's probably evolved a little bit more towards us. So the learning curve for our players is less than you would think.
Wolf is what used to be the bandit in Nick Saban's defense. Kane's father is Dave Womack, who had a long career as a defensive coach in the SEC at Arkansas, South Carolina, Ole Miss. Now, he was Ole Miss's DC when Hugh Freeze was there and beat Alabama in back-to-back years. I think, what was that, 13 and 14, something like that? In any event, the takeaway there is basically what I told you back when it was announced that Womack would bring this 4-2-5 defense to Tuscaloosa. And what did I tell you? I said, operationally, it's not much different than what the Tide has been running to this point. It really is not a heck of a lot different. The other takeaway would be Nick Saban's getting his coaching Jones off. I'm going to tell you that right now. Nick Saban is getting to talk ball. He's talking to coaches. You know what he doesn't have to deal with? Doesn't have to deal with the players. And a lot has been made about his comments regarding his disappointment and how the players reacted after the loss to Michigan. Throwing helmets and having a fit and doing all of that kind of stuff, which is not the way they do things there. And he felt like his message was not getting through anymore. And his general distaste for NIL and the transfer portal. I mean, no doubt, those things are an issue. But there are other things that are in play as well that I'm sure that we're not going to be privy to, that are not going to be made public, at least not for years. There's other stuff there. But Kalen DeBoer and Nick Saban, they have a lot in common. They both got beat by Michigan last year. None of it matters at this point. None of it matters. Saban has retired. He's going to be great on game day. His voice will resonate throughout the game. And it's Kalen DeBoer's time to shine now. Clint Lamb of BamaOnline.com is coming up on that and some other issues surrounding the game. Also today, what is up with all this smoke about Bruce Pearl in Indiana? His dream job. Did he say that, really? I mean, he's about to become the all-time winningest coach in Auburn history, no? And by the way, it looks like that Indiana job is not opening up anytime soon, at least not real soon. Mike Woodson will be retained, despite the fact that the Hoosiers are a 500 program that barely rank in the top 100. I mean, they really deserve better than that, don't they? I mean, they're the Indiana Hoosiers. This is Bob Knight's Indiana Hoosiers in basketball crazy Indiana. In a way, you can make a little bit of a comparison to Alabama football in the dark times. They need a coach that can bring them back to national prominence. Indiana, for God's sakes. Well, Alabama's maybe more like UCLA, but you get the idea. You understand what I'm talking about. Justin Ferguson from the Auburn Observer coming up to hit a few Auburn topics with us at the top of the one. And then later in the show, Steve Merril is back from WagerTalk TV to give us his take on all things sports from a handicapping standpoint. Your phone lines are open, but I'm just going to be honest. I don't know how much we're going to get to do, but they are open. So if you want to jump in, we'll get you in. Maybe. 256-576-4977. You can text the show at any time, 24/7 at 7329-TA-SHOW. 732-982-7469 is your text window. That might be a good thing to use today. By the way, I got a listener to Bassmaster Radio that's begging me to bring back the old music, doesn't like the new music. There was just one response, but you know what got me thinking. So I may need to throw it up there a little bit for you guys and have you guys give me your take on it, what you think. I kind of like the new music. The new music is kind of syrupy. The old music drove a little bit more, power in it. I get that. My X feed at Tom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show there. You can watch on our YouTube channel at WZZN TV. There is a link to that from our Facebook page at 97.7 ESPN. Go to 977ESPN.com and get links to all of that stuff. Get our app. Not just the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app, but get our Talk Radio WZZN app. Talk Radio WZZN, the new home of your Rocket City Trash Pandas. Can be found at 97.7-2 digital station. Whoop. One spot over on your digital dial. If you don't have a digital dial, just get the app, and you can listen there. Hall of Fame linebacker Carl Mecklenburg got loose, unloading on Russell Wilson on X, posting, quote, "Russell Wilson isn't a leader." The foolishness that went on in his first year at Denver with a private coach, his own office at the facility, and family at training camp when other players didn't have those privileges, proved his self-centeredness, close quote. Dang. This guy's getting hammered. I mean, Russell Wilson, let's look. Russell Wilson's a pretty good guy. He's getting hammered. Everybody's family comes to training camp. Now, does everybody have their own office? No. Is it overplayed a little bit? Maybe. Is that a home run? No. You got Atlanta and Boston. Austin Riley just hit one about 480 feet, but it was foul. The Braves and Red Sox on the ESPN on in the studio in the here at the Big Dog Production Studio. So distracting to me. I should just turn the TV off. So distracting. In any event, we're going to find out what's real and what's not with Russell Wilson. And now it's the Steelers that seem to be on him. Mitch Trubisky is back with Buffalo, who cut a bunch of guys. And this is just the way it goes in the salary cap area. Look, they cut 2 of their captains. Not Josh Allen. They didn't cut that guy. But they cut Jordan Poyer, one of their defensive captains. They cut Mitch Morse, their center, one of their offensive captains. They cut some other guys that were pretty good. 3 or 4 guys altogether. But here's the deal. Let me just say this. They didn't get over the hump with those guys. They didn't win with those guys. Not win the way. I mean, this is all about the window in the Super Bowl and all of this stuff. They didn't get there with these guys. So maybe changes, let's see what happens with the new guys. All right, the guy playing the platters that matter in the stacks of wax and answering the phones, keeping us on the air. And also the architect of whatever we're going to listen to during the breaks today. We'll see. We'll just see. It's DJ Grizzy Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Grizz, how you doing today?
I'm excited for today. We got baseball on ESPN. See, you have the Atlanta Braves on YouTube TV on ESPN right now. And then, we're going to do 90s country for throwback. So, I mean, it's going to be a good day. Baseball
I don't have
country.
it on YouTube TV. I have it on ESPN.
We need to have it on YouTube.
Yeah, I have it on YouTube TV. Yeah, you're right. I
Through
guess I have
ESPN
YouTube TV on. Right. But I don't have it, you know what I mean? I have it on regular
correct.
ESPN on YouTube TV. You're right, yes. And I have the MLB.TV app as well on all of my devices now, on all of my TVs over here at the office and across the street at the house. I've got all of that stuff, and it's been working great, except for can't get a Braves game.
Yeah.
I live 2.5 hours from Atlanta, and here's the thing: it's even more weird, Grizz. Not only do they black out the home games, they black out the road games.
Oh yeah, no,
they black out everything.
Yeah, I tried to. One of my former roommates had the Brewers on all the time, and I would try to watch the Braves games through the MLB package in the Brewers, and it was blacked out on both markets. He couldn't even watch the Brewers because they would black it out.
Wait a minute. What do you mean they black out the Brewers?
Like, because he lived here. Like, he couldn't. I think. Well, maybe he could watch the Brewers broadcast, but we couldn't get the Braves broadcast on MLB.
No, you couldn't
TV.
get the Braves right, but you can watch the Brewers broadcast.
I think he could still get. Yeah, but still, just to be able to get that broadcast,
but I can't watch the away team broadcasts of the Braves. That's the thing, which is weird. You know what I mean? Like if the Braves are playing the Red Sox like they are now, but it wasn't on ESPN, and I went to the Red Sox broadcast, I don't think I can see that either, to be honest with you. And you know what else I can't see? Not that I really want to, but you know what else I can't see? Is the Cincinnati Reds. Because up in Tennessee here, the Cincinnati Reds, this is their territory too. So I can't, and they're on Bally, whatever the heck they call that thing.
Bally's.
Chick me.
I wonder if they have, I don't know where they have all this money. I mean, they've got like a restaurant in St. Louis. I know that's what I'm saying. I wonder what happened to that restaurant in St. Louis I went to last year. It was called Bally's.
Yeah, well, it's because Bally's is, They
had like a whole area where you could watch the dude, anybody announce and stuff like that in St. Louis. So it was kind of cool.
It's crazy. Anyway, this game's at JetBlue Park. They're in Fort Myers, my former home of Fort Myers. I still have peeps back there. Can I say something? Let me say something. Can I say something personal?
It says the Thom Abraham Show on the bottom.
It does say it is a Thom Abraham Show, isn't it? Let me throw something in there personal. My one daughter who is not married got engaged last night. How about that? Yeah. We need. There you go. Good job by you.
I like how I clap first.
Yeah.
Before I hit the button.
Wait a minute. I was looking for my button.
Wait a minute. I was hitting the button.
Wait a minute. Yeah, she's a beautiful girl. She is marrying a guy that he has his captain's license. They have a 30-foot contender. My daughter loves to fish. She loves to fish, and he is a fishing captain, but he also is a home builder, but he has a captain's license so he can guide and things like that. But they have a 30-foot contender with a 300 horsepower Yamaha on the back of it for they do a lot of back bait. They go offshore some, but they do mostly, redfish and snook and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But I think I've told you this story before. They bought the boat from Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon got this boat. I don't know what the story was, how he ended up with this boat, but it was part of one of his sponsorship deals or one of anything. Anyway, to give him this friggin' boat, and it was wrapped and everything else. So he had the boat for like 3 or 4 years, and the boat never hit the water. Boat's never been in the water. And I don't know how they found it. My son-in-law to be, but they ended up buying it. It was unwrapped and everything else, and so they got a beautiful boat, and they do very well. Now this is both of their second marriage. I'm going to just say that right now too. It's their second marriage, so I don't have any responsibility. Correct?
I don't think so.
Not the second time.
They should be able to handle that. It should be a small wedding.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a small wedding, and even though it's going to be a small wedding, they both have money. They both do really good.
Yeah. Fine.
Yoshida just hit a home run for the Red Sox. That kid's going to be a
Bryce.
problem. It's too bad that the Red Sox are going to suck. It's really not too bad. But Yoshida, well, now that, what's his name? Giolito. Now that Giolito is out for who knows how long, he was going to be their number one starter. And they traded, Chris Sale, obviously, to the Braves. But this kid Yoshida was a stud in Japan, and he just raked. Yeah, I held it.
Not a good start for Bryce.
I don't get hung up on,
Oh yeah, spring training.
It's spring training. I mean, you want guys to play well and everything else, but there's just so many stories about guys doing great in spring training. But anyway, another note: 27-year-old Jake Paul is going to fight 58-year-old Mike Tyson July 20th in Jerry's World on Netflix. And I got no idea what to think about this. I mean, being an old guy myself, I'd love to see Tyson walk in there and knock him out. You know what I mean? And just go in there and just knock him out. Just for the old guy thing. But I mean, Jake Paul is 31 years younger than him, and he's no joke. I mean, he beat up Anderson Silva in the MMA. I mean, this is not a joke. This guy is a decent fighter. Jake Paul.
Put quotes around decent. He fought 2 UFC fighters that were older and lower weights than
not
him.
As old as 58 years old.
He fought 3 YouTubers and a Twitch streamer.
Nate Diaz is not a YouTuber. Or
he fought Tommy Fury, who's like an Instagram boxer.
Well, so was Jake Paul, an Instagram boxer or a YouTube guy.
Set up fights. Watch him start pulling his punches late in rounds.
He beat Anderson Silva. He beat Nate Diaz. He beat Tyrone Woodley.
Okay, I'll give him that. He trains.
He's a bigger Tyson guy. Is Tyson going to? So do you think 58-year-old Tyson's going to beat 27-year-old Jake Paul?
No.
Well, there you go. That's what I'm saying.
Because he'll pull his punches and he'll lose.
Why would he pull his punches?
Because
who's going to pull punches?
Because I think every time that Jake Paul fights somebody, it's not a real match. Like it's not a real boxing match.
So,
in my opinion.
So who's pulling punches? Paul or
I
his
think
opponents?
both of them are a lot of times. I think the opponent will. You can see it in videos. I mean, people talk about it all the time. He's fighting guys that are like way smaller than him and UFC fighters that have gotten hurt and aren't in the league anymore. And it's like, this guy is this great boxer. This is not boxing,
he's
Tom.
saying great.
But
how is it
it's
not
not entertaining either. Nothing about it is entertaining.
I think I'll be entertained by it. I mean, why would it not be entertaining?
I don't know why you would want to waste your money on something like that.
Well, you don't have to because
it's
on
on
Netflix.
I won't have to. Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean,
it's on Netflix. It's already. But I mean, that's going to be a spectacle. I mean, this is going to be a spectacle. This is going to have a massive, massive audience.
I like what his brother does because his brother actually takes some time in WWE and actually does things and everything like that. Like Jake's over here claiming that he's like this. He wants to take boxing seriously and boxing and all this other stuff. And it's like, you're not boxing anyone that is an actual boxer.
Well, he's 9-1. He has fought some boxers.
Tommy Fury.
We'll see.
That one boxer.
All right. He beat him?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
right.
I believe so. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how to think about it. I want Tyson to go in there and knock him out. But you're saying that you don't think that you think that he'll beat Tyson.
I just don't think Tyson's going to go out there and knock him out. I don't think Tyson's going to go full board. I don't think he will.
He'll go full board. Mike Tyson's not going out there to pull punches. If you think Mike Tyson's going out there to pull punches, you're nuts. I don't think that'll happen. All right, we got to get a break. Let's get a break in here. When we come back, we'll hit the lines with Clint Lamb, BamaOnline.com. He's coming up next right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
AL cert number 21014.
Are those high utility bills driving you crazy this time of year? If they are, Talent Heating and Air has the special for you.
That's right. We're going to run a $49 spring checkup on your system. We're going to come out, we're going to check those heat kits, make sure that everything was working through the winter right, and then we're going to also make sure your Freon's good, make sure that you're ready for the summertime.
How important is that to be done this time of year?
It's really the most important time of the year. We can avoid safety concerns caused by wintertime use, and then we can also make sure that you're ready for the summertime.
And to get ready for the summertime, you just got to call
256-503-4490.
Or you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
That's Talent Heating and Air. One more time,
256-503-4490.
Talent Heating and Air. Let them save you money.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, and pick up the phone to call, one you've seen on a billboard or on TV begging for your business, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center, not in some office 100 miles away. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to. We're the ones that you meet with.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case. You want to talk to me? You just call me.
And we'll take care of it. You worry about getting well. We'll take care of the rest.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying, Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. We do get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine. An isolated shower certainly can't be ruled out, though. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. We're dropping into the mid-upper 50s as we head into the overnight early Friday morning. We're talking about a cloudy sky with scattered showers and thunderstorms through a good majority of Friday afternoon and Friday evening. Temperatures climbing into the mid-60s. Some of those thunderstorms could be on the stronger end of the spectrum. Looks like the big concern there, heavy rain and gusty winds. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
College football.
The ball is caught. It is a touchdown.
Major League Baseball.
That ball is gone. A home run.
This is your place for complete sports coverage all year long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
better life.
Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
March Madness begins in the Rocket City as the Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships come to the Von Braun Center March 12th through the 16th as 9 teams look to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Lock in your seat for all the tournament action now and get the best seats available to be right on top of the action. And thanks to our friends at Dave & Buster's and Main Event, we have Power Passes available in 4-pack single session tickets available now that include $60 in savings. For more information, visit VonBraunCenter.com or visit the BBC box office.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 977 ESPN The Zone.
The opinions of Thom Abraham are not necessarily the opinions of the radio station or anybody associated with the radio station or ownership. These are strictly his own opinions, and sometimes they're not even his opinions.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here. Now, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show here on a Throwback Thursday in the Doghouse. We're hitting you with 90s country music, which is we're always happy to have that. This segment of the show is brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental with their 2 locations. Valley Equipment Rental makes sure that you have the right equipment to get the job done like a pro, and they'll show you how to use stuff. If you're not sure, listen, I need a jackhammer, but I really don't know, what to do. They will help you out with that. All right, they'll take care of you. They'll help you out. They'll teach you, and they'll get you up to snuff with that. If you need something delivered, they can deliver anywhere in the Tennessee Valley. If you have your own trailer, they'll check your trailer out, make sure that it's okay, and then they'll go ahead and load the piece of equipment up on that. And everything is made so easy for you at Valley Equipment Rental, and they've got all kinds of stuff. This is springtime now. This is the time where you've got to do projects around your property, and you need to do it with Valley Equipment Rental. They'll help you get that done. Plus, they're locally owned. I mean, what else can you say? Ross Roberts, Huntsville Panther dude, and his whole operation there, locally owned. So let's keep the money in the Tennessee Valley with Valley Equipment Rental. All right, joining us now, a guy that does a tremendous job covering everything Auburn from the Auburn Observer, especially focused, obviously, on football and now basketball this time of year. He's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. He's Justin Ferguson. Ferg, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Tom?
I am great. Ferg, are you in your dream job at the Auburn Observer, or do you wish to have some Big Ten job or something like that? Maybe that'd be your dream job. I'm not sure. You know, after hearing that story, I don't remember Bruce Pearl saying it, but you're around him a lot more than I don't remember him actually saying Indiana, my dream job. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that one kind of came out of nowhere this week and, picked up fire, and it sounds like Indiana's going to keep Mike Woodson, so really it was much to do about nothing. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, obviously Bruce Pearl's done an excellent job, and when you look at the success he's had at Auburn, I could definitely see traditional powerhouses look at Auburn and say, well, we can pick off Auburn's coach. But the thing is Bruce Pearl is getting paid a ton of money and really has it set up at Auburn for success for the long term. The stability on his staff has been huge. It's bringing in good recruiting classes. They're developing at a high level. And obviously Auburn's going to be a pretty strong tournament team this year. So this is a really funny kind of story to come up out of nowhere. And I think it's just a reminder, I think, to college basketball in general that, Auburn doesn't get as much respect as it probably deserves. And I think SEC basketball in general has gotten that knock on them. So when a blue blood program comes knocking or potentially could have an opening, a lot of people say, oh, they can just go get Auburn's head coach. I think the same thing's going to be with Alabama as well, because I'm sure Nate Oates is going to have a lot of interest from a lot of places as well. But it's just not that simple, and the SEC's got a really good basketball product right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, we talked about that with Nate Oates last week, and the fact that, the concern, the better they do, the more you think somebody will come after their guy, and then, of course, they stumble their last couple of games. So maybe not the Alabama fan not so worried about that happening. But the other difference between Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl is Bruce Pearl's 63 years old. And there's not a lot of guys 63 years old getting, a new gig. But it was interesting to hear, to read that, coming out of Bloomington, they were making it sound like it was a done deal. I think I saw that term, that it's almost a done deal that Bruce Pearl's going to Indiana. And that was when it really picked up steam.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because you think about it, we're not even in tournament time yet, right?
Right.
They still got a season to finish. Both of these teams do. And so for it to kind of go out of the, spin out of control like it did was pretty funny to me. I thought that Bruce Pearl, it'd be interesting to kind of hear what he would have to say about it, because all that's going on, and he's in Missouri and helping Auburn get a big win to kind of get him closer to top 4 seeding. And it's so funny how disconnected I think a lot of that stuff can get from reality and, kind of catch fire.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when you guys have the next opportunity. You got to ask, right? You can't let that slide. Somebody's got to say, can you comment on the Indiana story? Mike Woodson will remain the head coach. That's what we're being told, that he will remain the head coach there at Indiana, which is almost inexplicable. They're a 500 program that's barely in the top 100. And they deserve better than that. They are Indiana, for God's sakes. They do deserve better than that. And so there is some legs to that part of the story, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bruce Pearl was very complimentary of Indiana. When they played him earlier this year in December in Atlanta, he talked about the fact that Bruce Pearl got his head coaching career started in Indiana. He was at Southern Indiana, won D2 national title there. He has great respect for the state and the basketball there and the tradition and Bob Knight and some of the greats that have come through there. But, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Indiana's one of the schools this year that and Auburn's got a few of them on their schedule this year where they just did not deliver like people thought they were going to this year. And it's kind of hurt Auburn's resume a little bit. I mean, we thought Indiana was going to be a better team. We thought USC was going to be a better team. We obviously thought Arkansas was going to be a better team this year. And, some of those big wins that Auburn had early in the year just don't look as good. And it's surprising because you're right, Indiana deserves a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's gone back and combed some of the comments. I could see him saying, around that time when they were going to play Indiana, I could see him saying that when I was a young coach, Indiana was my dream job. You know what I mean? When I was coaching in Indiana, got my career started and so on and so. He's a Northeastern guy, so it's not like growing up as a little kid, or maybe when he was a little kid because it was the height of Bob Knight. Maybe when he was growing up, Indiana was his dream job or whatever. I can't fathom that he had said, as the current coach at Auburn, where he, I think, is approaching becoming the all-time winningest coach in Auburn history. Yeah. That's not that far down the road. I can't imagine him right now at 63 with a great deal there and so on, and everybody loves him so much. Now he says, "Oh, the Indiana job, that's my dream job." It just doesn't make sense. Somebody missed a portion of that quote, it feels like. The early in my career or the when I was a kid, portion of that quote.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Bruce Pearl, like I said, got it made here. You think about, kind of the setup he's got. He's in his 60s. He's got a team that's a constant contender in the SEC. It's one of the best basketball conferences in the country now. And you look, his son's on staff, and, this is not anything official or written in stone or anything like that. But, I mean, there have been people who've wondered, hey, when Bruce Pearl decides it's done, does Stephen Pearl get the job? Like, a lot is built up here for Auburn to kind of keep this rolling for a long time. And Bruce Pearl, very early on, grateful for his opportunity that Auburn was the team that gave him a second chance, and then they've made the absolute most of it. There's still things, obviously, getting, in terms of getting paid and getting facilities and all that, that I'm sure, interest from elsewhere could drive it up. I think of a couple of years ago when the Louisville job came open. It was the big news that, like, hey, Louisville's going to make a run. Louisville's going to make a run at Bruce Pearl. And, he gets a big contract extension out of it. And, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the same case here in this cycle, but there's some really good jobs that are either open or going to be open in college basketball. And they'd be crazy not to at least consider Bruce Pearl. But you're right. At this point in his career, it would be surprising for me to Bruce Pearl to walk away. He's got a lot of stuff rolling. And like I said, this team is built for the future. This team is built to be a contender long term. And that's something where he goes to Indiana, you're going to have to build that up again. And it won't be night and day. Like, you won't be able to just walk in and just, flip a switch.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Justin Ferguson with us here from the Auburn Observer. And that was a nice win in Missouri. I mean, you come back off of a loss, and then you have that kind of a resounding win on the road. And so that's a good win. They got an excellent chance now to close this deal out with a win over Georgia at home. They'll end up, 13-5 in the league. And I think if you had told me at the beginning of the season that they were going to be 13-5 in the SEC, they would have taken it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this team's done a great job this year, of weathering the storm. I think is a big thing for them. They lost to Tennessee in a game that basically kind of killed off their chances to win a title this year in the SEC. And then what do? They go and win wire to wire against a very good Mississippi State team. They get a best shot from a Missouri team that just hadn't folded yet, and then they run away with it in the second half, one of their best halves of the season. It's a really good response. This team's very resilient, and I think we've seen that this year. There have been some bad performances. There have been some tough losses. There have been some tough breaks in the year for Auburn basketball, but they keep kind of firing away, and right now the reward they could get is if on Saturday they beat Georgia, no matter what happens anywhere else in the SEC. If they beat Georgia on Saturday, they get a double bye in the SEC tournament. They don't have to play till Friday.
Right.
And additionally, I think it would really come close to them locking down maybe a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Both of those things are huge goals for the program. I think if you'd have told them that at the beginning of the year, they would have loved to have a season like that, and they're on the doorstep of doing it.
Yeah, they are right there, and they couldn't get that done, and then we see where it goes from there for sure. All right, just a couple of football notes. I want to get your take on we talked with Clint Lamb from Bama Online about this earlier in the show, but I want to get your take on it as well. This moving of the early signing date to the week after the regular season ends and before the conference championship games. It feels like there's no good time. There really is no good time to do this because of the fact that, everybody wants to be on campus now in January. Apparently nobody goes to high school in the spring anymore of their senior year. And so they're all looking to get on campus. So, we can't do February. That's obsolete. What's your take on it? And is it the best option?
They've been talking about the summer signing period, and apparently that's still on the table for the future.
That's what I like.
I think
that's the one I like.
Yeah, I like that a lot better. If they could have gone back to saying, hey, if you want to sign in the summer, go ahead and get it out of the way. Play your senior year of football, and we'll be ready for you in January. It'd be great. And for everybody else, we'll get you in February. Go back to the traditional February signing day. I think that's the best because you do anything in December. You do anything in January. What you're running into is chaos because of the portal and additionally because of the coaching carousel.
Right.
And so find a way to give kids outs if they sign in the summer and everything changes for them and their program. And then push back to have a normal February signing period. And I think that's the best way to do it. The December thing, I get kids want to enroll early. It's just really, really tough to handle all that because you're asking coaches at the busiest time of the year, whether they are still playing, whether they're still contending, or if they're making moves and changing jobs, you're asking them, hey, you got to do one of the most important things to your job in the midst of all of this. Meanwhile, you have months and months in an off season where you don't do nearly as much. And I just feel like you could allocate your time a lot better.
And then you don't also have, I don't think you'll be firing as many coaches in November. And, I think they'll have an opportunity to finish out their season and, everybody evaluate everything. And, you won't, because it's not just a head coach that gets fired. The entire staff gets fired, basically. And so now everybody, the minute that happens, everybody now is totally lost focus. And, of course, we had the situation a few years ago with Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame at a point in time when Notre Dame was still in consideration for the Final Four to be in the playoff possibly. And yet he's got to go because you got to go now, because of recruiting and everything else that is associated with it. So it's not just the impact that it has on the kids. It's the impact that it would have on these staffs as well. And plus the signing day thing, it is a pretty good thing to say or question to ask, I guess. What does signing day mean anymore? I mean, what does it even mean? You don't even have to stay for the whole orientation. You could leave like in the middle of orientation is when you can leave. We saw kids, I chuckled. They had the Michigan-Alabama semifinal game on the SEC network the other day, and I saw the team coming off the field, and there was Julian Sayin wearing number 7, coming off the field with Alabama, at a playoff game. And he was gone before orientation, and yet he went through practice. I mean, it's crazy, what we see right now. Oh, I think we lost Ferg. Well, that's all right, Chris. If we lost him, that's okay. We're at the end of it.
We're back.
Oh, there he is.
You good?
We're back there.
Hey,
I don't know if you caught that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. You look at your high school ranks. Like, yes, recruiting high school football, classes over and over and over and build. That's the best way to build a contender. But the portal's gotten to the point where you got to re-recruit and you got to handle all that. And so, yeah, you're right. Like, you can have a really good class come signing day. All right, are you going to keep them around? Are they going to still be here? What happens when something changes in your program? What happens when a coaching moves, maybe a top assistant leaves or something like that? What if you take a little quick dip, on the field that year? It's crazy. And the thing is, it's all gotten out of control. And we know that, but the calendar is the one thing that is just driving me nuts more than anything else because it's a bunch of people making different decisions and nobody seems to have like a consensus in mind, right? There's not we need to be taking care of this area or this area. It's just kind of a hodgepodge, and it's like the playoff, it's like the portal, it's like the signing period. I think college football moving forward at some point is going to need to kind of bring itself together and get some sort of centralized people in charge. And with the NCAA falling off in terms of their power, it could be soon, and it could have nothing to do with them.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, because then the next step, we're giving the kids all of these, all of these options, and now, pay for play is just out there in the open. They're probably, it's a different world. The other shoe has to drop. They got to commit to something. The kids are going to have to. They're going to have some sort of a deal that somebody could say to Congress and say, look, all right, we're going to give the kids all of this stuff. They got to give us a commitment for 2 years or a 3-year commitment or something. Yep. I mean, you can't just give. And, by the way, I'm, every minute I'm a free agent. They're not even committed to the first year. I mean, for all intents and purposes, if there's a coaching change, you get that opportunity to bail out. So it just, it's just absolutely nuts the way it goes now.
And to your point, Tom, I mean, Hugh Freeze brought this up last week when we were talking to him, and I know Lane Kiffin's talked about it as well. If this comes to a point where you need to sign a contract to play football at a school and have either it be year-to-year rollover or a multi-year deal, I think that would be best for everybody involved. Because look, you look at it like a professional sport. Like a professional sport, sure, there's outs and buyouts, and you can cut guys. It's cut season right now in the NFL and all that, and there's all that. But you sign a kid, you sign a free agent in the NFL. You've got them for the next 3 or 4 years, right? You've got that flexibility. You can plan. You can build out. You can get a hot new 5-star in your class, like you were saying earlier, and there's no telling that they're even going to make it through a full year with you. And that's hard to kind of figure out how to manage a roster and build it up. And so when you have coaches like Hugh Freeze or Lane Kiffin, or you have somebody like Nick Saban retire and talk about this openly, it's you got to change something, because I don't think these coaches want to necessarily go to this completely new world order of college football. But I do think, if you're going to pay the kids, if the kids are going to get paid, let's make it so that it works out for everybody involved, and not this just kind of Wild West where, coaches and players and fans and everybody alike is just kind of being I don't know how we can keep up with all of this.
If a kid was allowed to sign in the summer, I'm going to push us forward 3 years. Kid's allowed to sign in the summer, signs a contract, he knows what he's going to be getting money-wise. He knows he's making a commitment. When do they stop playing their senior year of high school football?
Yeah,
just say, that's what I'd be worried. You know what? Screw it. I'm not going to take a chance. I'm getting paid. I already know where I'm going to school. What's the point of going through, playing my senior year?
That's the danger, and I've heard people talk about that with the summer signing period, just in general in football. I think the contract situation would probably make that a little bit more of a possibility. But for people talking about it with just in general, just the summer signing period, because I've heard football coaches kind of be a little bit weary of that. I would say that a lot of other sports, I think of basketball, where they have an early signing period there, and it's before the season. You still have kids play, so I'm less concerned about that in this world. But you're right. I mean, if you get into a contract situation, kid signs in June and says, I'm going to go play football at Alabama or Auburn. I don't need to go play high school ball my senior year, because why risk it? I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to do anything to jeopardize it. I'm already going to get mine, and that's tough. But it is the kind of world that we're creating. I guess the comparison there, Tom, would be kind of like when a guy holds out a mini camp or training camp in the NFL, where they just don't show up because they don't feel like they have to. They're the ones with the leverage.
Always a pleasure. Justin Ferguson has been our guest. Ferg, I appreciate you so much. Great stuff. Keep up the great work at the Auburn Observer as we get into next week's SEC tournament, and then, of course, the big tournament as well. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure, Tom.
All right, thank you. Justin Ferguson. All right, we're going to get the phone lines open. We didn't take a call in a monologue, and we've had pretty much interviews ever since, and we've got an interview coming up in a little bit with Steve Merril to close the show out. So this is your chance to get in and holler at me right now, 256-576-4977 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hello, Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Cheeseburger Bobby's has a great new way to feed the family with 2 $30 family packs. The first is the Tenders Family Meal. 20 delicious chicken tenders, fries, and a gallon of tea. The second is 4 cheeseburgers, fries, and a gallon of tea. Your choice, just $30 each. These specials are good for carryout and online orders only. Log on to cheeseburgerbobbies.com to order. And don't forget frozen custard for dessert. Cheeseburger Bobbies, 2785 Carl T. Jones Drive, Huntsville, and at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
It was 700 fence posts from your place to hide.
See, this one is so good. We wanted to give you the pause and refreshes to set you up for it.
Sometimes it was raining, sometimes it would shine.
Welcome back, Tom Abraham Show. Phone lines open. Get your bark on at 256-576-4977. That'll get you into the show. Michael Harris hit a home run that I think left the stadium. I think it went out over the wall. Well, it definitely went over the wall. But I think that the people in the right field bleachers looked up, Grizz, and it went over everybody's head and out of the stadium. A Michael Harris bomb.
Crushing it.
Crushing
up 3-1.
You know, these Braves. He is. I talked about the Braves, bringing the piping, changing the piping from white to red, right on their blues. But what's weird is, how we've been talking about how the numbers are small on the back of the jerseys, and the lettering for the people's names are even smaller, and it makes them look kind of chintzy and cheap. Well, I'm noticing now, watching the actual game for the first time with the Braves, the Braves logo on the front is small. I mean, it's tiny. It's not. How usually it goes like all the way across the chest. It goes like nipple to nipple. You know what I mean? I mean, it seems like it's pretty much like about nipple to nipple.
I'm trying to look at it again.
Yeah, well, it's in a commercial break right now, but it goes. It seems small. Honest to goodness, they look like replica jerseys. They look like they're wearing some sort of jersey that you can get at Kmart. You know what I mean? It's like I went down to the Kmart and I got myself a little replica jersey.
Got a Marshall's jersey.
Speaking of jerseys, by the way, we were speculating as to whether or not the Huntsville Havoc on Friday night at Trash Panda Night would be wearing Trash Panda jerseys like they have done that in the past. We know that on Saturday night they'll be wearing the Huntsville City Soccer Football Team jersey.
They look pretty cool.
Grizz will be down there to get one of those. He'll want to get one of
them.
Soccer.
About that.
He's our resident soccer guy.
I already spent money on a soccer jersey. I don't need anything more right now.
A soccer? You don't want a hockey soccer jersey? You might want to get a hockey soccer jersey rather than just a soccer jersey.
I've always wanted a soccer or a hockey jersey from the Havoc, and I've gotten.
You don't have any hockey jersey?
The only one I ever got was one of the replicas that when Thom Perkins came last year to our Christmas party.
That's it?
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever gotten one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you gotta
never gotten one. I was thinking about buying one.
Jersey.
I want a real one. Yeah, like a red one because those are cool. I like the red one.
I got one from way back in the day. I got to dig that thing out. Back when they were wearing sweaters. I mean, it was a heavy duty jersey. I mean, it was polyester, wasn't a sweater, but it was but it was thick. It was heavy duty. It was thick, and it was the goalie. And I can't remember what the goalie's name was now. 47 or something like that he wore. Oh, name just jumped out of my head. Anyway, they're not wearing Trash Panda jerseys on Friday night. They're wearing their throwback cream jerseys,
I saw that.
Which I love.
Those are cool.
I love the throwback cream jersey, the Wolf jersey. So I'll be able to see the numbers very clearly, and that's good. So they showed a picture of Ronald Acuna from last year, as the Braves got something going on again now here. They showed the picture of Ronald Acuna from last year, and you could see blatantly how big the name was on the back. Acuna Jr. went from his shoulder to shoulder. You know what I mean? It looked significant. It looked major. And now it's just like Olsen just went off after getting a hit, and he got the first base and just made a went right to the dugout. He's like, okay, I'm done. 6th inning of a spring training game. I got a hit. I'm out of here. And so he went right to the dugout. And the Braves on the front of the last year's jerseys almost went like under the armpits. They went so far. You know what I mean? They went like all the way. Now they're like nipple to nipple.
It's like they're compressed. It's like they took the writing and they compressed it, but then they
shrink it. The whole thing is shrunk.
Yeah.
It's just a small little logo that is on there now. And they're going to have to fix something. I don't mind those red hats, though. I kind of like that red hat. That red spring training hat is not bad looking. Let me go to lines. Natty Danny will be at the game on Friday night, and he's up. Natty Danny, welcome in. How are you?
Very well. Back in the day, that jersey you have,
who was the goalie?
They did not wear goalie masks. So can you imagine how it was to play back in the day without a goalie mask?
It's a Havoc jersey. It's not from when they didn't wear goalie mask. I wasn't alive. The last guy to not wear a goalie mask, I think, was Jacques Plante, and that was like in the early '60s when I was a little tiny baby. So, who was the goalie? Carmichael? Was that his name?
Yeah, Carmichael. Matt Carmichael.
That's whose jersey I got. I got a Carmichael. I think it's a Carmichael jersey. I think that's the
one.
Oh,
really? I got so many jerseys. Jeez, man. The oldest jersey I got is the Detroit Ambassador, way, way, way back. It's an old one. The CompuWare League back in the day. It was OHL.
Were you calling me to tell me to talk about Detroit's 7-2 loss last night? Or no?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Relax.
Okay.
This isn't the year. We're just getting better. He's going to have this thing like the old Russian team. I'm telling you. You watch. Stevie knows what he's doing. He's proven. That's all that matters. Now, with that said, it was a glorious day. You know, I went out with my homies, you know, Larry and Tim. We played 18 on the Arsenal, man. It was nice today.
What'd you shoot?
Hey, I'm going to ask you about Friday night.
No, wait. I asked you. Whoa. Well, hang on. What did you shoot?
88.
Well, that's good. What did Larry shoot?
You know what? I wasn't going to tell everybody to score on the radio. I didn't really care. We had a good time. Let's just say that. Okay, I'm not here. I'm not going to call it.
Are you embarrassed by Larry's? Are you embarrassed?
And talk about my buddies. You know, I just all I said is I had a really good time with them. We don't need to talk about scores. Who cares? Just
Are you embarrassed by Larry's score? Are you embarrassed by how much he beat you by? Or are you embarrassed that he played poorly?
You know, I'm going to defer. How's that? All right, so let's just leave it at that. I tell you what. Why don't you ask? And I'm not on the air. It's a personal thing. Why don't you ask the guys Friday? Okay?
Personal thing.
Because
we're dudes. What do you mean personal thing? We're dudes. That's what we do. We bust each other's chops.
You know, hey, these guys.
Larry, what'd you shoot?
Play golf. Hey, you know,
did you break 100?
Okay?
Would you shoot a 103, Larry? I mean, what'd you do, Larry? What'd you shoot? About 98? Come on, Larry. Call the show.
Well, if Larry wants to tell you when he shot, he can tell you. How's that sound? That's up to him. It's his responsibility. It ain't mine. All I know is I had a great time. Let's do it again, guys. They're probably listening. I enjoy it. We got a really good rate. My wife gets a discount from her work. It's a good deal. But anyway, what I really did call about is Friday night. So I want to get this straight. So you might buy our first round. So what kind of gear do you want us to wear? I mean, you said something. Larry said something about wearing college gear.
Well, I just Larry. All he said was that he would not wear anything with Michigan on it because we were trying to get him to wear the big blue T-shirt there from our buddy, and he said no, I won't be wearing that. If I wear anything, it'll be Wisconsin gear. So
okay. Yeah, so I wasn't sure. So if they're listening right now, guys, we got to make a decision. You know, it's either college or is it pro? Is it hockey? Is it football?
Do you have a Michigan hockey jersey?
I've got two of them.
Well, wear a Michigan hockey jersey. That would be cool. If I was Natty Danny, I'd be wearing a Michigan hockey jersey.
All right.
That's random.
Can I throw on a national championship cap?
Well, yeah. Just don't get it dirty or anything. That thing's got to last like 30 years. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the rest of your life. You're not going to ever get another one. I mean, come on. That's got to last.
No. You know what? I'm telling you right now. You can talk all you want about this coach from Washington. He's probably a very, very good coach. I get it. But it's a whole different world being a coach for the University of Alabama. And to follow a guy like that, I don't know, man. All I know
wasn't
is
talking about Alabama. I was talking about Michigan.
Be patient.
I was talking about Michigan. I wasn't talking about Alabama. I didn't say anything about Alabama when they were going to win. I just saying
going to be just fine. No. First off, it's Michigan. Okay, let's get it straight. But I'll tell you what, Alabama, just be patient. It ain't going to happen right away. It might take a long time. But you know what? Just hang in there.
What's the over-under on Shemore Moore there? What do you think? 2.5 years? 3 years? 2 years?
Probably at least 9 to 10 wins.
No, I mean years before he's gone. What do you think? You think he'll make it 3 years?
No.
3 years?
He's coached under one of the greatest coaches of all time, Jim Harbaugh. So he'll be fine.
I give him 3 years.
How about over-under? How about the over-under on Harbaugh winning the Super Bowl? I want to say maybe 2 to 3 years.
I don't know. That's a little different animal. At San Diego or at Los Angeles with the Chargers.
Well,
I don't think he's winning.
Wait a minute. Their stadium's not going to be done yet until next year, right?
What stadium? What are you talking about? They play in SoFi Stadium. They're not going anywhere. They got a brand new stadium. They play in LA.
They're redoing a stadium or something.
No, San Diego has a new stadium. They're in LA now. They're in that SoFi Stadium with the Rams. That's a brand new stadium. They got no fans. I don't think he's taking them to the Super Bowl.
Oh, come on. He took the 49ers
I
to
know.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think he's taking the Chargers to the Super Bowl. They got no home games.
See, I see where this is going. See, everything on my side, Michigan side, I'm all optimistic and feeling good about it, but I'm not feeling great about Alabama. And then you're the opposite. You don't feel really great about Michigan, but you love Alabama, and you think you're going to do great. Right?
I don't know if they're going to be great. I still think they can win 10 this year. They got a brutal schedule this year. If they're 9-3, it won't shock me, but 10-2 is what I've been predicting.
Well, they both have brutal schedules. You do and I do.
Yeah, Michigan's got a very difficult schedule, too.
But remember, before you were in Alabama, you were a Notre Dame fan, just like Larry was a Wisconsin Badger.
He's still a Wisconsin Badger.
Yeah,
I
but
like
you
Notre
were
Dame. I still like Notre Dame. Now, I came to Alabama for Alabama. I still like Notre Dame because it's my dad's team. It was his team. Now he likes Alabama more than Notre Dame. But, we grew up around Notre Dame, and that's how I ended up with the Alabama. I've told that story a million times. But
yeah, well,
all right.
Anyway. All right. Well, my man,
right.
we're going to look forward to seeing. We're going to try to get there early.
Yeah, get there early, will you? Because I got to get upstairs by probably 6:30, so I'll come and see you guys and buy a round. But I need you to get there early.
Well, the doors open 5:30 for season ticket holders, I think.
Well, be there then. All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Talk to you later.
Yeah, but Grumpy hit the text window. He says, I have surpassed my allotment for the use of the word nipple for today. I can't say nipple anymore. I'm just trying to figure out a way to describe it. I mean, they're talking to Austin Wright. Look at how little the tomahawk is on the jersey. Look at how little the letters are. I'm like, gosh, where'd you get that thing? You get that at Walmart? Of the disco? You go to Goodwill to get that jersey?
They used to sell.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. They don't have it anymore, but they used to sell Atlanta Braves hats in Walmart, and you'd never see them anymore for $5.
You do over there.
Maybe over there, but they used to sell them here.
Yeah,
$5 for a hat.
Let's get a break. When we come back, we'll wrap this sucker up with Steve Merril from WagerTalk TV next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
March Madness begins in the Rocket City as the Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships come to the Von Braun Center March 12th through the 16th as 9 teams look to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Lock in your seat for all the tournament action now and get the best seats available to be right on top of the action. And thanks to our friends at Dave & Buster's and Main Event, we have Power Passes available and 4-pack single session tickets available now that include $60 in savings. For more information, visit VonBraunCenter.com or visit the BBC box office. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
For 50 years, our mission, do the right thing and make long-term decisions. We value our customers, and we invest in supporting you. We use our own technologies to automate, to provide you the best support possible. And we have the strongest guarantees in the industry. I just can't tell you I'm going to provide you great support. I have to prove it to you with my actions.
Thank you for making us your #1 choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Well, I went down to the Grundy County auction where I saw something I just had to have. My mind told me I should proceed with caution, but my heart said go ahead and make a bid on that.
Yeah, welcome back to Tom Abraham Show.
Won't you give me a sign? I'd give anything.
Some 90s country in your throwback music today. Segment of the show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center. That's right, TOC, the orthopedic specialist that pretty much every high school in the region uses as TOC Sports. Alabama A&M, the Huntsville Havoc also rely on TOC, but doesn't have to be a sports injury. Could maybe just be a work accident, or maybe you're just getting old and breaking down a little bit. TOC is the right specialist for you. It's North Alabama's largest sports medicine provider. That's TOC Sports. Stay in a game with TOC Sports. All right, Badger Larry said he shot 93. That's not embarrassing. Wolverine Dan wouldn't out him. Wolverine Dan shot 88, so he beat Badger Larry by 5 strokes. And Badger Larry said he shot 93. He says, for goodness sake, it's early. Now, it's the Arsenal. I mean, you know, it's not the most difficult track in the world. But a 93 is fine. I don't know that I can go out and shoot 93 right now. I haven't played in 9 years, but that's a whole other story. All right, joining us now, a guy that does a tremendous job at WagerTalk TV. Probably got a video coming up in about 20 minutes. He's been all over the place. He's Steve Merril, and he's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and on WZZN TV for those of you watching there. Steve, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, Tom, doing well.
When is your next video that you got coming up? I know you had stuff going on earlier today.
Yeah, it was actually really cool what we were doing today. We're doing a bunch of tips videos. Kelly Stewart, Kelly in Vegas is hosting them. Teddy Covers did some. I just knocked a bunch out. The first one was 3 tips to winning long-term in sports betting, and one of them is not picking the right team, not picking winners. And that's it's only 4th on that list. It was money management, shopping for line value, emotional control. And then I also did how to beat the NBA and how to beat college hoops. And obviously this time of year, both of those are topics of attention. So they're going to be up hopefully later tonight, maybe later this week. Once again, some kind of betting 101 shelf life videos there at WagerTalk TV on YouTube. And then I'll be doing the NBA TV show here in a couple hours today. I'll be hosting that. So NBA TV, WagerTalk TV on YouTube.
Money management. I knew you'd have that at number 1. I mean, that is for a lot of people that's not number 1. They wouldn't even think of that, because they're always betting whatever they're betting the whole time. And instead of starting with a stack, starting with a bankroll, and then managing that bankroll, they just I'm going to put $200 in. I'm going to bet $200 and see what happens. And I'm broke again.
Well, I'll tell you, the example I use, this is one I made up years ago, and it's obviously a very extreme example, but it shows why, without argument, money management is the most important factor. If you could go 99-1 against the spread, 99% winners, that'd be pretty good, right? I mean, we'd all take that. If you bet 100% of your bankroll on every play, you would still go broke because that one loss would wipe you out. You would never be in the game anymore to win all those other games. So it's not debatable. And I know that's an extreme, silly example, but people make it complicated. It's not. All my plays at WagerTalk.com are rated 4% of bankroll. Now, I'm very selective. I have like 2 to 3 games a day, as you know, Tom. Maybe on a Saturday in college football or basketball, I'll have 4 or 5 games. And even that's my limit because I think it's important also in one day not to put too much of your bankroll at risk. So even at 4% of play, that's 20% at risk in one day. And look, I haven't had many 0-5 days over the last 30 years, but I've had a few. I've had a lot more 5-0 days. But it can happen. So, yeah, money management's the key. And it goes hand in hand, really, about the emotional aspect as well, which is number 3 on my list because, keep it simple, stupid, right? Just bet the same amount every game and have fun with it and win a little bit.
Yeah. And then being emotionally tied to your team, that's a double-edged sword. It's hard to bet against your team. So I'm either a bet on or not bet, at all. But the emotional aspect of it, the double edge to that sword is the fact that that's often the team that you know the most about, as much as any handicapper would know, because you're so immersed in that team. And if all I did was play Cleveland Brown games and Alabama football games and New York Yankee baseball games, if that was all I ever touched, I probably would do pretty well because I really have a good sense of that particular team. But I could never go against them, which is to the detriment because that's not going to help the bankroll. And they ain't going to win 162 games, and they ain't going to go 17-0, and they're not going to go 12-0. So it makes it a little tough.
Well, I think selectivity is very important. I brought that out in the college basketball video that I did just now. There's 362 Division I teams, and now when you and I started like 30 years ago handicapping sports, we've been doing this since the 80s and the 90s. You can only bet on a handful of teams. To put this in perspective, not just college basketball, but when I started in 1996 as a full-time professional, there were no over-unders on college football games on a normal Saturday, except for maybe the 3 national TV games at best. The MAC teams weren't even on the betting board until the late 90s. And now everybody's on the board that's Division I football and basketball. So you can isolate certain teams, but you still have to know about the opponent, right? So that's why it's difficult to do that. But in college basketball, I do think it makes sense to pay attention to conferences. I know you do extremely well with the SEC. You follow those teams, and I think there is something to that. You kind of have to pick a niche and, stick with it because the odds makers have to put numbers up on every game. That's the one edge you have as a sports bettor. I didn't mention this in the video. This is a little bonus here for your show, but the biggest edge you have as a sports bettor is that you don't have to play every game, but they have to put a number up on every game. And when there's 100+ college basketball games on Saturdays, they're going to make some mistakes.
So you're looking for those mistakes. There's just so many teams that are in college basketball. And right now we've got the minor conference tournaments going on, and there's got to be value there. It's just hard to find it. I mean, you got North Alabama right here going to be playing Austin Peay just up the road. How do you handicap a game like that, or you don't? I guess is but you're scouring all of these games, and then all of a sudden you look at it and you say, wait a minute, UNA, they got a superior player. They got one superior player. They're getting 4 points at Austin Peay. Does UNA a good play? You wouldn't even think about that in the middle of the season.
So one of the things I love about WagerTalk.com, we all do shows together. It really is a big family. And Ralph Michaels, the human database, we talk a lot about his stats here on the show. He had a chart on WagerTalk today earlier about conference tournaments. And he had like 3 or 4 different angles. You can find it at WagerTalk.com for free. But this is the one I love, Tom, because at this time of year, I do a lot of radio. I do a lot of TV, obviously, with March Madness around the corner. And the conference tournaments, you'll hear the talking pundits on the non-betting shows say it's so difficult to beat a team 3 times in one season.
Yeah.
And I've always said, well, that's first of all, not statistically true. And Ralph ran the numbers, and you'll love this. Going back to 2010, if a team lost the first 2 times, the third time they're playing, 780, 775 against the spread, 50% almost exact. But here's what's crazy. If the team lost the first 2 games straight up, they're only 30% in the third game. So that means 70% of the time a team does win 3 straight in the same season. So it's such a misnomer to say it's so hard to beat a team 3 times. What's interesting, though, is if the team is favored in the third game, they're over a 60% play straight up. So the adage really should be it's very difficult for the better team to lose 3 straight, but it's actually very easy for the weaker team to get swept 3 straight. And that's something to keep an eye on in conference tournaments. And the other thing I'll point out real quick, you want to definitely have a contrarian view, at least on the first game or 2 of a conference tournament. It is a new season, so some of the teams that have been complete bottom feeders get a renewed life for that first game or so. And that's something else Ralph pointed out. Just blindly playing hot versus cold, like back-to-back wins, all back-to-back losses. The team off back-to-back wins is only 41% against the spread. So these first games or two, you do want to take a little bit of a contrarian view, but then those teams normally don't make it all the way through the tournament.
Well, here's another way to put it, and this is a mind bender when you think about it, but it's more difficult to beat a team twice in a season than it is to beat them 3 times in a season.
It's probably true.
Think about it, right? Yeah, I mean, you got because it's difficult, when you have home and homes and things like that. It's difficult to sweep both games, but if you do win both games, that third game becomes a better bet. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Plus, it's a tournament game, and both teams have something on the line where a lot of teams you get a letdown. One of the reasons revenge works is because sometimes the team that won the first time doesn't make adjustments, overlooks the opponent, et cetera, in the regular season.
Well, we got the SEC tournament coming up next week in Nashville, and then you wonder about motivation there. You know what I mean? That's going to be the thing. I mean, Tennessee right now is a 1 seed. And they won the regular season outright for only I think the 6th time in their history in the SEC. And you just wonder as they play through the well, they won't start till Friday, but as they play over the weekend, do they really need to play more than one game? They don't want to get knocked out in the first one, but in the next one, and you might have a team like Auburn, which is playing to get that top 4 seed in the national tournament, or Alabama now, which has lost a couple and needs to straighten themselves out in the tournament to get a top 4 seed. Those teams are just so much more motivation than like Tennessee, which is going to be a top seed. If they win one game probably in the SEC tournament, they're going to be a number 1 seed.
And I've said this for decades. You're so much better off losing like on that second round on Friday or Saturday, not having to play 2 extra games and being rested. And maybe even if we fall 1 spot from like a 2 to a 3 seed, it just doesn't matter. And you see that a lot of times. Teams coming off a loss are very strong plays in the first round or two of the NCAA tournament. Whereas those teams that get the at-large or had to win to get in, everyone remembers the lightning in a bottle scenarios like VCU, the play-in teams that make these runs. But more times than not, those teams do not go very far. So I think it's an excellent point you bring up. And something else I'll point out as well, it's the same thing late in the NFL season. If a team was good enough to win in must-win situations, they wouldn't be in must-win situations in the first place.
It's a great point. Great point. Steve Merril has been our guest. Steve, we may reach out a little early in the week next week because we're going to be knocked off the air by the SEC tournament here. And so we might want to get your take on the tournament going in. And then, of course, we got the big one coming up after the, after Selection Sunday. And it's going to be, this may be as wide open a March Madness that we have seen in a long time. It doesn't seem like anybody wants to separate themselves from anybody else.
Yeah, so real quick, I ran this study. The last 8 years, like the team that wins the national title has a higher offensive rating efficiency than defense. So everyone says defense wins championships. It's normally offense. So obviously that bodes well for Alabama, right? However, most of the teams were top 30 defensively as well, and Bama's still like 100th. Yeah. Auburn top 20 in both, but their defensive rating is stronger. So it's going to be a very interesting tournament.
Somebody asked me yesterday, they said, does Alabama have a Final Four defense? I said, they don't have a Final Four defense for the SEC tournament. Forget about
They're currently 108 in the Ken Palms.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty remarkable.
That's not going to happen. All right, man. Appreciate you as always. Great stuff.
Thanks, Tom.
There you go. Steve Merril joining us. All right, it was a busy day. Now, look, I got to be honest with you. Tomorrow, it's going to be very sketchy. You might just hear a couple of interviews from this week because we have the Alabama women are playing tomorrow at about 12:55, 1 o'clock, somewhere in there. So there's not going to be very much of a Football Friday show for you tomorrow. So that's why we try to give you a lot of info today. It's a good job by Grizz with the 90s country music all throughout the show. Coming up next, it's a Paul Feinbaum show. And then Wes and Steve, all right here on your home for everything. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.